Imagine waking up after a 3-month-long sleep only to find yourself unable to speak. Picture a woman ensnared in the cold, sterile clutches of a hospital bed, her memory a foggy tableau of a car crash and a long, deep slumber. She's been in a coma, lost in a world of dreams and darkness for 3 whole months. The echoes of the accident still reverberate in her mind, a haunting symphony of screeching tires and crunching metal. She comes to, her eyes fluttering open to the harsh, clinical light of the hospital room. Her lips part, an instinctual need to communicate, to reach out to the world she's been so cruelly severed from. But no words come. Her voice, once her own, is now an elusive phantom, a missing piece in the puzzle of her identity. As she struggles to make a sound, a nurse notices her conscious state and calls for a doctor. The doctor arrives, but his words offer no comfort. His face is a mask of professional detachment, but there's a glint in his eyes that sends a shiver down the spine. He approaches the woman's bedside, his white coat billowing around him like a specter in the sterile hospital room. "Today is your lucky day," he declares, a hint of a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. His statement hangs in the air, a chilling paradox to the woman's current situation. Lucky? In what twisted universe could waking up mute and confused in a hospital be considered lucky? The woman tries to voice her questions, her fears, but her vocal cords refuse to cooperate. She's trapped in her own body, a silent observer in this macabre play. Her heart pounds against her ribcage as she watches the doctor, her eyes wide with unspoken terror. His words, though meant to be comforting, only fuel her anxiety. What does he mean? What luck could possibly be found in this sterile white room filled with the incessant beeping of the machines monitoring her vitals? The doctor's cryptic statement is a puzzle, a riddle she doesn't have the pieces to solve. She feels a cold dread seep into her bones. She's a rabbit caught in the headlights, paralyzed by fear and confusion. Her mind races, spinning wild theories about the doctor's chilling words. Is it a cruel joke, a coded message, or a prophecy of some impending doom? The fear is a bitter taste in her mouth, a dark cloud overshadowing her awakening. The joy of waking up after months in a coma is replaced by a chilling uncertainty. What's happening? Why can't she speak? And why does the doctor's proclamation of her luck feel more like a death sentence? Her thoughts are interrupted by a sudden movement at the door. It opens slowly, ominously, revealing 4 figures shrouded in darkness. They're clad in black robes, their faces hidden under hoods. They file into the room, their presence an oppressive force that sucks the air out of the room. Just as the doctor's cryptic words start to sink in, 4 men in black robes enter the room. The woman's heart skips a beat. Fear grips her, a cold hand clutching her heart. What happens next is anyone's guess. The ominous figures in black robes, a sight you'd never expect in a hospital room. The room, once sterile and clinical, now takes on an eerie, foreboding air as these 4 mysterious men materialize seemingly from nowhere. Each of them is swathed in a robe as black as a raven's wing, their faces obscured by deep hoods that cast long, ominous shadows. There's a certain gravity these men carry with them, a palpable weight that sends chills skittering down the spine. There's an undeniable aura of authority surrounding them, yet it's an authority that feels alien, almost otherworldly. They stand with a stillness that is almost inhuman, their robes undulating gently in the sterile breeze of the hospital room. Their sudden appearance is unsettling, to say the least. It's as if they've stepped straight out of a cryptic tale, their silhouettes stark against the harsh fluorescent lights. They are the embodiment of an enigma, a puzzle that our protagonist is not prepared to solve. It's the silence, though, that's most disconcerting. It hangs heavy in the air, a suffocating blanket that swallows up the usual hospital sounds. The faint hum of machines, the distant chatter of nurses, all of it fades into insignificance in the presence of these men. Their silence is not one of peace, but of anticipation, a pause that waits to be broken, a silence that screams of things yet to come. The tension in the room is thick enough to touch, a tangible entity that coils around the room like a serpent, ready to strike. It's a tension that seeps into the bones, that makes the heart pound and the breath hitch. This is a tension born of the unknown, the inexplicable, the terrifyingly mysterious. And then, as if on some unspoken command, they move. Their movements are fluid, synchronized, each step a chilling echo of the others. They move towards her, their robes whispering against the cold hospital floor, their faces still hidden in shadow. Before she can even begin to comprehend the situation, the men move towards her. In the blink of an eye, she's out of the hospital room and into an unknown journey. The men in black robes, who seem to have materialized out of thin air, guide her through the sterile, dimly lit corridors. There's an urgency in their hushed whispers and the briskness of their steps that echoes through the silence. It's as if they're on a clock, running against time. The woman, still weak from her long slumber, finds herself swept up in their pace. She tries to ask questions, to demand answers, but her voice is still trapped within her. She's a silent observer in her own story, a puppet caught in the strings of these mysterious men. The hospital she'd known, the place of her nightmares and dreams, now feels alien. The familiar whitewashed walls now seem to hide secrets, the usually comforting hum of the medical machines now a distant echo. It's as if the hospital has morphed into a labyrinth, a maze of endless corridors and closed doors. Every turn they take, every corner they round, leaves her more disoriented, more anxious. She's like a leaf caught in a whirlwind, swaying to the whims of these black-robed figures. Their faces are hidden, their intentions unclear. Are they her saviors or captors, friends or foes? She doesn't know, and the uncertainty gnaws at her. Each tick of the clock, each beat of her heart, takes her further from the safety of her hospital bed and deeper into the abyss of the unknown. But she clings on to hope, the only anchor in the sea of confusion. She holds on to the doctor's words, the promise of a lucky day, like a lifeline. As they move through the hospital corridors, she can't help but wonder, what has she woken up to? Confusion, fear, a multitude of questions. This isn't the awakening she had hoped for. Her thoughts are a tangled web, a maze with no clear exit, and the more she tries to make sense of it all, the more convoluted it becomes. She's in a state of suspended animation, caught between what she knows and what she can't comprehend. There's a cacophony in her mind, a chorus of questions that refuse to be silenced. Who are these men in black robes? Why can't she speak? Why did the doctor call this her lucky day? The questions pound against the walls of her mind, each one demanding an answer, yet none are forthcoming. Her fear is like a living entity, wrapping its cold tendrils around her heart. It's not the fear of the known, but the fear of uncertainty, the fear of what lurks in the shadows of the unknown. She's a stranger in her own life, floundering in a sea of confusion, struggling to stay afloat. She yearns for answers, for something to hold on to in this whirlwind of chaos. But answers are elusive, dancing just out of reach, like shadows flickering in the moonlight. The more she chases them, the further they recede into the distance, leaving her with nothing but a gnawing emptiness. Her confusion is like a thick fog obscuring her vision, clouding her thoughts. She's lost in a labyrinth of her own making, a prisoner of her own mind. She's a puzzle with missing pieces, a story with missing pages, a song with missing notes. She's desperate to find her voice, to scream out her fear, her confusion, her questions. But her voice is a silent whisper, a soundless echo in the vast emptiness. She's a mute witness to her own life, a spectator in a place she didn't sign up for. As the unknown journey continues, she can only hope for answers. But hope is a fragile thing, easily shattered, easily lost. And in this world of confusion and fear, hope is all she has left. As the black-robed men lead her into an ominous-looking building, she can't shake off the feeling of impending doom. The structure, formidable and oppressive, towers over her like a monstrous beast awaiting its prey. Its darkened windows, like lifeless eyes, stare back at her, each one holding secrets that are yet to be revealed. Her heart pounds in her chest, a thunderous rhythm that drowns out the world around her. She tries to scream, to call for help, but her voice is as absent as her memory. The only sound that escapes her lips is a hollow gasp, swallowed by the chilling silence of the night. Every step she takes towards the entrance amplifies her terror. The men in black robes remain eerily silent, their faces hidden beneath the shadow of their hoods. Their grip on her tightens, their cold hands seeping through her skin, numbing her senses. Just as the doors close behind her, she catches a glimpse of something that sends chills down her spine, leaving us all wondering, what happens next? Y'all, we're wrapping up here, but don't you go anywhere just yet. Show some love, hit that like button. Fancy more content like this? Go on, subscribe and let that bell icon ring so you won't miss a beat. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, sharing is caring. Until next time, stay tuned.